Hey, hello, what's up everyone? In this video, I'm going to teach you about what happens when Ketu is sitting in the 8th house of D9 chart or Navamsa chart in Vedic Astrology. So, before beginning, if you guys not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon and click the like button. And if you guys have any doubt after watching this video, please do mention that in my below comment section, okay? And yes, please like and follow my Facebook community page, Parikshith Astrology also. So, let's begin. So what do you mean by Navamsa chart or the D9 chart? See, Navamsa chart or the D9 chart is the second most important chart of your birth chart. It gets activated of your second half of your life or 33 years or 36 years of your age. It is mainly seen for your strengthness of your planet. It is also seen for your married life. It is also seen for your relationship between you and your spouse. Now let's say for example, if any planet is debilitated in your birth chart. Now let's say for example, if Sun is debilitated in your birth chart and that planet Sun is been exalted in your Navamsa chart or the D9 chart, that shows that that planet Sun has gained extra strength or extra power. Now, coming to the married life, see every individual divisional chart, including the main birth chart, has its own Karaka planet or the significator planet, right? So, suppose for example, in your birth chart or the D1 chart, Sun is the Karaka planet or the significator planet. Likewise, in your Navamsa chart or D9 chart, Venus is the Karaka planet or the significator planet. So Venus should be placed in an exalted sign, Mudrikon sign, own sign, or in a friendly sign. That shows that your married life will be very good. Now, coming to the 8th house of your D9 chart or Navamsa chart. Now, what does 8th house of your D9 chart or Navamsa chart represent? See, 8th house of your D9 chart or Navamsa chart represents your spouse family or your in-laws. It also represents your joint assets. It also represents your illegal way of earning money. It also represents ups and downs in your married life. It also represents the longevity of the marriage. So these are all things can be seen from the 8th house of D9 chart or Navamsa chart. Now what happens when Ketu is sitting in the 8th house of your D9 chart or Navamsa chart? Now what does planet Ketu represent? See, planet Ketu represents spirituality. Planet Ketu represents detachment. It also represents isolation. It is a planet which is headless. Now, when Ketu is sitting the 8th house, that shows that after your married life, you might get separated from your in-laws and you might be staying far away from your in-laws. It also shows that you need to check the dispositor of planet Ketu. Suppose if Ketu is sitting in Scorpio, especially for Aries, Navamsa, Lagna people, so you need to check the condition of planet Mars. If Mars is placed very well, then that shows that everything related to the 8th house will give you very great result after the married life. Now, coming to the relationship between you and your in-laws, that shows that there might be some misunderstandings between you and your in-laws, or it also shows that you might not be interested to talk with your in-laws because there might be some problems with you and them. Now, it also shows that you will learn lot of occult science subject after your married life or before married life. Why? Because Ketu represents spirituality. Ketu represents spiritual things. 8th house represents hidden things and occult science. So you will learn occult science subject. Now, it also shows that these people can become very great scientists and all. This is the surface level prediction. So don't just look only the Ketu sitting in the 8th house. Just look what are the planets sitting with it and what are all the planet aspecting the Ketu. And also check the nakshatra, which is very much important. Now, it also shows that these people will receive joint assets if the dispositor is placed very well. Now, it also shows that these people, they will focus towards their family. Why? Because Rahu will be sitting in the second house. Second house represents new family, especially you, your wife, and your children. So your focus will be towards your new family. Rahu represents your desire. What will be your desire after your married life, especially in the Navamsa chart? So it will be sitting in the second house. So your main focus or desire will be towards your new family. Now, what happens when Ketu is with other planets like benefic planets and malefic planets? Now coming to the benefic planets. Now what happens when Ketu is with benefic planets like Jupiter, Moon, Mercury and Venus? Now coming to the planet Jupiter. Now what does planet Jupiter represent? It represents teacher, it represents divine knowledge, it also represents gurus, advisors, counselors and all. It also represents bank, money, stuff like that. It also represents chartered accountant. Now, when Jupiter and Ketu are sitting in the 8th house, that shows that these people might be working in banking sector or can become a teacher after the married life. It also shows that one of their in-law members can also work in this type of career related to Jupiter, like banking, teaching, or chartered accountant or lawyer. Now, it also shows that these people will receive a lot of money. Why? Because Jupiter will be aspecting to the second house. It will light up the second house. Now, what happens when Ketu is staying with planet Moon? Now, what does planet Moon represent? It signifies your happiness. It signifies your mother. It represents your emotions. It represents your mind. So, when Moon and Ketu are sitting in the eighth house, that shows that you will get happiness only when you live far away from your in-laws. It also shows that there will be a lot of frustration that you are getting from your in-laws. It also shows that there will be a lot of tensions when you stay with your in-laws. There will be a lot of tensions, so you need to be careful there. Now, what happens when Ketu is sitting with planet Venus? Now, what does planet Venus represent? See, planet Venus represents spouse. It also represents your married life. It also represents the characteristics or the nature of the spouse, especially in a man's chart. Now, when Venus and Ketu are in the eighth house, that shows that it is a good placement when it comes to matter of money, but when it comes to matter of the relationship between your spouse, family members, it is very bad. Now, what happens when Ketu is sitting with planet Mercury? Now, what does planet Mercury represent? It represents your logical ability, business thinking, or business acumen. It also represents your communication. So when Mercury and Ketu are sitting in the eighth house, that shows that when you communicate with your in-laws, there will be a lot of misunderstandings between you and your in-laws. It also shows that you can cut off some communication with them for some time. It also shows that uh, one of your in-law member might cheat to you or lie to you. Now, what happens when Ketu is sitting with malefic planets like Sun, Mars, and Saturn? Now, coming to the planet Sun. Now, what happens when planet Sun is sitting with Ketu? That shows that these people, they will be having some trouble with father-in-law, and it also shows that these people will be having some troubles with the government also. Why? Because Sun represents government, fatherly figures, especially eighth house represents in-law. When Sun is sitting the eighth house, so it represents father-in-law. So Sun and Ketu represent some disturbances with father-in-law or some cut off relationship with father-in-law. Now, what happens when Ketu is sitting with planet Mars? Now, what does planet Mars represent? It represents aggressive nature of a person. It represents engineering things. It also represents uh, whether the whether you have that energy after the marriage to sustain that particular relationship or not can be seen from the Navamsa chart. Now, what happens when Mars and Ketu are sitting in the eighth house? That shows that these people might not be having that much of great energy in order to sustain that relationship unless it is sitting in the Scorpio or Aries or in an exalted sign or in a friendly sign. Then it shows that these people will be having great energy to sustain that particular relationship and the longevity of the marriage will be very good. Now, what happens when Ketu is sitting with planet Saturn? Now, what does planet Saturn represent? It represents old and mature type of people. It also represents workaholic nature of a person. It also represents hardworking people. It also represents principle and discipline type of people. So when Saturn and Ketu are sitting in the eighth house, that shows that these people will have a lot of frustrations and lot of problems with respect to in-laws. It also shows that these people need to stay far away from their in-laws, and these people will get the in-laws where they'll be very principled, determined, and workaholic, and very much strict and all. So, yep, this was my analysis of what happens when K2 is setting the 8th house of T9 chart on Navamsa chart. So, yep, this is for today, guys. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe below, or else I will see in the next video. So, if you want any consultancy, please do contact my given below WhatsApp number, or else you can even mail me also. So, until and unless, thank you, bye bye, love you, take care.